Hey guys, welcome back to Sports with Mono and Mono. It's December 13th, 2025, less than 2 weeks away from Christmas. And I'm here, of course, with my co host, Elijah Weintraub. Elijah, how are you today?
I'm doing great. It is a cold day here in Jersey. We got snow on the way, and there is so much sports to talk about in every department. And let's just kick it all off with the monologue, sponsored by Coriano Trucking of Summer Hill, New York. And Jim, it's all yours.
Okay. And I don't know if this should be a surprise or not a surprise. First
Ah,
and foremost, I'm not a Mets fan, but I can't understand the rationale between letting Pete Alonso walk. First and foremost, he puts fans in the seats. He plays all the time and he produces. Now, a lot of people say, well, that's a lot of money, 155 million. Well, not to Steve Cohen, it's not. And, they're going to suffer because there goes the Pete Alonso jerseys and things that kids like and they admire him. And I looked at his career stats, right? Yes, he's 30. But if you look at his numbers, I mean, this guy has driven in over 100 runs 4 times in 6 years. And one was a COVID year, and the other one he drove in 88 runs. If you look at his numbers and compare them, Vlad Jr. came in at the same time, and they're paying him. So I don't think that's a lot of money. To be quite honest, I know sports and Eli's salaries are out of control and so forth. But when you think about what this guy has done, and you and I were talking about it before the show. What is their plan B? Who are they going to get to play first base that's going to hit 40 to 50 home runs, drive in 100 runs or more? Yeah, his career bat average is lower than Vlad's. That I'll give you. But if you look at their numbers side by side, it's mind blowing to me. And the Mets, they also let Edwin Diaz walk, and they signed Devin Williams. I just don't understand it. And I don't listen to sports talk radio, but I could imagine what the reaction of Met fans has been to let a guy like that who's done nothing but just be a role model for kids and he produces. I'm baffled by it. And I don't understand it. Um, and you know what? If I'm a Met fan, I am not happy today. What do you think, my friend?
oh, before I get to my thoughts, by the way, anybody, if you're watching, feel free to call in live. You can scan the QR code or click on the link in the chat to call and ask your question or give us your thoughts on anything we talk about today, including the Mets or whatever else we have planned coming up on the show. Back to my thoughts overall on the Mets. I mean, it shocked everybody, and I'm completely shocked. And you know what they lost? They lost entertainment talent and actual talent is what they lost this week because Edwin Diaz, he was a pitcher, and every time he would go out, the lights would go dark, the trumpets would play, everybody's up on their seat, and they're all hyped up, energized, ready to go for his walkout. It's Edwin Diaz. Keep in mind, I'm not a Mets fan either. I want to preference that as well. Pete Alonso, though,
Yep.
one heck of a player. He was the face of the Mets. Gone out the door.
Yep.
And to me, it's a shock. It's a disappointment that the Mets, what I've seen the Mets do this week. And who are they trying to get that, I've been saying this earlier. Who are the Mets trying to get that it's worth these two players to go? To me, I don't know the answer. I don't know who's going to be the next guy up. And I don't know if this will make up for these two players. And if you're talking about that money's out of
No,
control,
just
you can't
just look at
afford Pete Alonso. I just want to say one thing real quick. Well, you're paying a guy named Juan Soto how much money again? How much money?
700
700 plus
million.
million dollars. But that you could afford though. But you can't afford a guy like Pete Alonso, who does more, who had more of a better record, more better everything last season than Juan Soto. But okay, you can go ahead. You can't pay him though. Yeah, all right. But you could pay a Juan Soto though.
And
To
how
me, that
many
is
how many big time home runs and clutch home runs did Pete Alonso
all the
hit for the
time.
Mets?
All the time.
Oh man, I'm perplexed. I would love for people to call in. William, I know you're sitting there. Give me your thoughts, because
Yeah.
it's head scratching. And
Well,
if I don't know what the Yankees were thinking. Maybe they should have made a play,
Well, I mean,
for
what are
him.
you going to play here? I mean, I don't know. William says, good morning, fellas. And Eric says, good morning to all. Happy Saturday, Eric. Happy Saturday. Thank you for tuning in, Eric and William. But back to your point, though, should the Yankees make a move? No, because, I mean, yeah, maybe you could think about, yeah, maybe they could make a move here and there. But Orioles wanted Pete Alonso. They needed Pete Alonso. Edwin Diaz, you know what? The Dodgers wanted him. I mean, and you know what? The Dodgers could use another pitcher. I mean, then to build up their legacy. So,
Yeah, their bullpen's been the Achilles heel, but they got 2 World Series in a
but at
row.
the
So
same time, too, is those were the two big names gone. I mean, if you think about it, Kyle Schwarber, he resigns with the Phillies to a 5-year deal. He wasn't traded; he just got a re-sign deal. And closer Robert Suarez from the Braves, another re-sign deal for 3-year, $45 million deal. There hasn't been much of okay. You know what? Who can the Yankees get? Just those two Met players that were the big names from the week.
yeah, and Alonso and Schwarber both get 5-year, $150 million contracts. So
I know,
I mean, but that's what the going rate for these guys that produce. And
I know.
I think Schwarber, could have probably got that money from somewhere else, but he feels that he can win a championship with Philadelphia. But I think this is a big setback for the Mets. That's all I can say.
100%. And by the way, once again, feel free to call and let us know your thoughts. Use the QR code, click on the link, call in now. You could let us know your thoughts or leave us a comment in the chat. We'll love to hear your thoughts.
Yep. Okay.
With that, let's go to college football and let's talk about that bracket that came out this week. And there was a couple surprises and a couple not so much surprises. I'm going to pull up the bracket now. And here are the teams right now: Texas Tech, Indiana, Georgia, and Ohio State. They all received the byes. But in the first round, you have JMU and Oregon, Alabama, Oklahoma, Tulane and Ole Miss, and Miami and Texas A&M. First off, how is Alabama in it? I mean, could we talk about that? They lost last week, not so great. They didn't have a horrible loss last week, if you could say. Who did they beat?
Oh, they got destroyed. Yeah.
And why are they in? Can someone explain that one to me? I don't understand that one. How Alabama's in there? I don't know. I'm still trying to. Yes, they beat Georgia. Yes, they beat Vanderbilt, Missouri earlier on. But the games that matter towards the end, they lost to Oklahoma. They lost to Georgia in the actual championship game, not the regular season game back in September. What are we doing here? I mean, I don't know. To me, this is not a playoff team.
I agree. And I'm an Alabama guy. I like Alabama. And I mean, I like a lot of spectrum on the college football. Like,
yeah,
I'm an Ohio State guy. I was a Michigan guy. Like, Alabama, and I love Georgia. So yeah, but when you think about this bracket and you look there, based on the beating they took from Georgia, yeah, I'm just as surprised as you and probably the majority of our listeners. I know Brendan Conley. He texted me after that Alabama shouldn't be in, and I agree. But I don't know what the right formula is. We went from 4 to 12. We're probably going to go to 16. And if you look on paper, you would say, yeah, but Alabama, much more talented than JMU or Tulane. But you know what? Those two teams, I guess they call them Group 5 schools, whatever. But yeah, I agree with you 100% that I don't believe that Alabama deserved a spot in that playoff, Eli.
But before we talk about Notre Dame real quick, Indiana right now, the number one team, they will play in the Rose Bowl as and they are looking like the number one team that they deserve. They had a big win versus Ohio State, and William mentioned he picked Indiana to beat Ohio State. Thanks for William, and good call there. But Indiana, though, they are looking like the best team. But the question is, are we going to have another curse, quote unquote? When you have a bye week, does that affect you heading into when you play in your second round game, a quarterfinal game? We'll see how this affects Texas Tech, Indiana, Georgia, and Ohio State. We saw last year all the teams that had a bye, they all lost. We'll see what happens, though. But Indiana, though, looks like they're for real team, and they look like they have a lot of potential going forward.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you, and I know we have some Indiana fans, the Tom Pughs and the Derek Krugs, and Derek texted me before the game. Do I think Indiana is for real? And you can go back into the archives of the show. I wasn't completely sold on them, but the performance that they gave against Ohio State was made me a believer. And just to your
100%.
point, Eli, yes, I believe they are the number one team in the country, and I don't believe in curses. The year Mendoza, he basically won the Heisman Trophy
pretty
against
much.
Ohio State.
He won Maxwell Player of the Year. No question.
Those long passes at clutch time. I mean, he won the Maxwell and all of the Davey O'Brien awards and so forth.
Yeah,
but he's going to win the Heisman tonight.
100%. There's no question about it. Before we get to talk about Notre Dame and the rest of the bracket and stuff, let's go to William Hathaway. He's calling in now. William, how are you?
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing today, man? What's up,
Hello,
Jim?
Big Willie. Big Willie,
I, I
how are
told
you,
I
kid?
told I told you that Indiana was going to beat Ohio State, right? Didn't I tell you that?
Yes, you did.
You
Didn't I?
did.
Yeah, I told you that, Jim.
Yeah.
I told you that. I predicted it on the show. It's going to be a tough. Indiana is one of those underdog teams, Jim. Like you said, any given Sunday or Saturday, I think Fernando is going to be. I think he's going to win the Heisman because you know why I think he won the Heisman. I think it's because of winner of Ohio State, and don't discredit Jeremiah from Notre Dame and the kid from
Vanderbilt.
how many yeah, Notre Dame, Ohio State,
Yeah,
Jeremiah Love.
Javier from
Yep,
Vanderbilt.
yeah, yep. It can go either way, but I'll go with Fernando.
Yeah.
I think he played well in the Big Ten championship game. I think he's going to do well.
Sure did.
But
Sure did.
question is, who will be the upset of the bracket? I think
Mm.
Alabama is going to lose.
Yeah.
Who are they playing, Eli?
Alabama has Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
All right, I'll take Oklahoma over Alabama, and I'll take Indiana too. Is Indiana in there too in that
Indiana
They
bracket?
has
get
a
a
bye
bye
in the
week.
first round.
They
Okay,
get a
that
bye.
sounds good. So
Yep.
basically, I'm going to pick those two programs. I think they in reference to Notre Dame. I don't know why they didn't allow them in the bowl. I thought that was a slap in the face. They're one of the key
Well,
contenders every year.
let
Little
me let me
preference
just
there,
say one thing, William. I'm a Notre Dame guy, right? So, but
Okay.
if I look at the schedule,
Yeah.
and yes,
Yeah.
that's what their downfall was. They don't have that competitive schedule, and like Eli mentioned before, they lost to Texas A&M and they lost to Miami, so they started the season 0-2. And Jeremiah
Yep.
Love is certainly Heisman worthy, but he won't win it because of Mendoza. But Notre Dame has to make some decisions about the scheduling that they make. I
Yep.
mean, they're a lot more about tradition, like they play
Yeah.
Army
I
and they
got you.
play Boston College, but these aren't
Yeah.
competitive teams. And so when you get down to this, I don't know what the right answer is, William, but
Yeah.
it's just kind of there. It's the schedule that got to them this time. It bit
And I
them in
will
the
agree with
behind.
you on that one, Jim. And I've said that right away to you in the beginning. You look at their schedule early on, horrible. Who did they play? Who did they play? They don't deserve to be in. They're absolutely right that they didn't get in. No question about it.
Yeah.
But then they're saying Notre Dame declines to be in a bowl game. Come on, what are we doing here? Play the bowl game.
I know.
You're right.
I mean,
Play.
that's just unsportsmanlike. Come on, you didn't get
Well,
in.
listen,
Play the bowl game.
William, thank you as always for your support and thanks for the insight that you give us week after week. And like I said, watch the Heisman tonight. Fernando Mendoza will win the Heisman Trophy tonight. Thank
And,
you, my
and and
friend.
go Pirates. And
Yeah, go
go
Pirates.
Seton
Yeah,
Hall tonight
yeah,
over
We'll
Rutgers
see.
yeah. We'll talk about that in a little
by
bit. Thank you,
15.
William.
By 15.
All
You
right,
got it.
appreciate it, William. All right.
Thanks, William.
Thanks, William, again. But yeah, like I said, though, Notre Dame, who did they play? And their
William
schedule is just
shares.
going to get worse and worse every year. If we look at Notre Dame's schedule, next year's schedule becomes lighter. When they need to join a conference, they need to join a play where they play tough schools where I could say to themselves, yes, you know what? You deserve to be in this new college football format. Right now, I can't say, yeah, you know what? You deserve to be in the college football playoffs. There's nothing convincing me if I was on the committee to say, get them in.
Yep, I agree.
The other couple of notes I want to talk about real quick. Obviously, Army Navy game is today at 3:00. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yep.
There's been some coaching news going on. First off, we'll start off with Utah head coach Kyle Whittingham is stepping down from his position, but he will coach the Las Vegas Bowl. That'll be his last game. But the other big story is Michigan head coach Sharon Moore has been fired by Michigan. Later on, he was arrested for an alleged assault moments after he was fired. ESPN confirms and learns. The university says the firing was an inappropriate relationship with a staff member, and then that happens later on. What
It's
happened here, and what a mess in Michigan.
it really is, and it's basically shocking, for a guy to reach the pinnacle of one of the top, let's say probably the top 5 coaching positions in college football. At a relatively young age, he got an opportunity because Harbaugh kind of ran that program corruptly and so forth. But this is an absolute shocker.
Oh
And
yeah,
you have to wonder, if he's been this kind of unstable, then yeah, I mean, it was eventually going to catch up to you. And now his college coaching career is over. And he may actually go to jail. I mean, so what a turnaround for Sharon Moore. It's
and
crazy.
what a mess down in Michigan. Between once the
Oh,
moment Harbaugh left and on, it's just been a mess down in Michigan. But we'll see what happens there. Um, Army
yep.
Navy, that was the big game today, and of course we have the LA Bowl, Boise State and Washington. That's happening tonight, 8 o'clock on ABC. Those are your only 2 games today. No game day today for College Game Day on ESPN. Um, but Army
Yep.
Navy though, always a classic. And you have some insight, I believe, from who's going to be there. Army Navy, your family, I believe.
One of our loyal listeners, Brendan, is going to be there with my nephews.
Okay.
They're going down to Maryland for the game. So Brendan's probably on the train right now. And yes, I always had hoped to get to a game, and maybe next year because they're playing in MetLife Stadium next year.
Yes.
So
Big year for MetLife next year.
it's it's always great that it's actually really the only game of the day. I love it. I'm
Right.
going to Navy
It
today.
is pretty cool to see, but there is some college basketball that is happening today too that we'll talk about in a little bit. But that's pretty much it for college football. Let's
Okay.
go on now to the NFL. And we'll talk about NFL now, and we'll go back to basketball and other sports later on. Um, and before
Yep.
we get to all the standings charts and all that stuff, we had a bad injury with Daniel Jones this week, who suffered an Achilles injury on Sunday. So he is done for the season. And what did the Colts do?
Yeah.
They signed 44-year-old quarterback Phil Rivers to join the practice squad. So they're pretty much the Colts season isn't going to be shaping up to what it was lived up to be in the early season. Texans right now will likely have a shot to win the division. You also have Jacksonville, who's still in the mix there. And what a turn of events down in Indianapolis.
Yeah, it's very surprising first and foremost. And I said, wait a minute, there's not some 25-year-old kid
Nope.
from all these Division I schools that
Nope.
they have to go and recycle a guy that has played in over 4 years. And I don't understand it. Maybe he'll surprise us. He's still athletic. I mean, he was an NFL
Of course.
quarterback. But that's where you go. That's your plan B. Riley Leonard is not that good enough to. You have Jonathan
Beats
Taylor,
me.
so the focus doesn't have to be passing game. So maybe that's king behind.
I don't know. It's a mess there. We have JR. He comments. He says, "Do you think the Jaguars
quarterbacks? How about that?
Oh yeah. Do you think the Jaguars will make the playoffs? And what's your thoughts on Liam Cohen and his way he has the Jaguars playing right now? To me, I think the Jaguars are going to make the playoffs. I don't think they're going to win the division. I think the Jaguars are going to not the Jaguars. The Texans are going to come back and they're going to end up winning that division. That's just my personal opinion. And I also think the Jaguars are playing a little bit of a light schedule. They have the Broncos as one of their last tough games coming up, but they've been playing a lot of these quote unquote weak teams to start the season. So I don't know if I could say, I can trust this Jaguars team going forward. But that's just my early thoughts.
Yeah, and I got some thoughts too. I mean, I still haven't been completely sold on Trevor Lawrence being that top tier quarterback. He's making that kind of money, but they have a decent defense and so forth. And yeah, I think they've overachieved at this point in the season. But I don't know that they have. Even though and we know, Eli, the AFC and the NFC, it's all up for grabs. So yeah, they have a puncher's chance for sure, but I'm not 100% sold that Trevor Lawrence is the guy that's going to get me to the Super Bowl.
No question. Two other notes before we get to our picks and stuff. TJ Watt underwent surgery for a collapsed lung this week. He'll be out on Monday for the Steelers, and it's unclear for a return for the rest of the season. Prayers up for TJ Watt there. And the NFL will be returning to Munich, Germany in 2026 and 2028 to play regular season games there. So that's exciting stuff down in Germany. Let's go ahead and take a look at that standings chart. That's what our fans are here for, and they want to know what are our picks. And here it is, folks. There hasn't been much of a change in our scores and our leads. We both went 2-1 last week. 27-17 is where Jim stands. I stand at 25-19. It could still easily come back depending on how we pick this week. But
Sure.
the confetti's there for you, Jim. The crown's still yours, but maybe it'll be mine eventually. We still got 4 more weeks in the regular season. 3 more weeks. 15, 16, 17, 3 to 4. Yeah. If you count, yeah. But still,
Well, you know,
a lot of time left.
and the games. When we look at our picks and we watch it closely and so forth, I've always said the first half of a football game doesn't really mean a heck of a lot, because you looked last week at the Buffalo-Cincinnati game, and it looked like Cincinnati had that game under control. You had
100%.
Cincinnati, I had Buffalo. So I was almost writing off, going, oh, well, Eli got this win, and then things change. And so
Yeah.
it's not over until the fat lady sings, the old cliche. But
Yep. You got it.
yeah, it's a close race. That's all I could say. So
Let's talk about those picks, and you want to kick it off for us?
okay, I'll keep the order the same this week. So I got 3 games that I think you would concede are not cupcake games.
No, they're
these
not
are
cupcake games. Nope.
to pick.
You're absolutely right. They're not.
All right. So first game, I think it's one of the games of the day. It's
100%.
Buffalo at New England, and I'm still a believer in Buffalo. I know, I believe in Josh Allen. I believe his passion to get to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl is so burning for him. But I love the job that Mike Vrabel's done. I love Drake May, and I always like the Patriots. But I'm going to take Buffalo on the road to upset New England in this week.
Okay.
I know. All right. Second game, Green Bay goes to Denver. Now, this is an interesting game, too. Denver has been winning, but they don't win big, but they win enough. And they're home. But I'm going to take Green Bay to upset Denver on the road. So that might be a surprise to some of our fans. But I do believe that Jeremiah Love is a really decent quarterback. And I think they got a pretty well-rounded team. I like their chances on the road. And Denver wins, like I said, they've been winning close games by 4 points or less. But I think that runs out this week, and I'm going to take the Packers. And the third game, another interesting game. You can't figure these teams out. You can't figure Detroit out. They got the talent. They were, one of the best teams in the league statistically last year. And Jared Goff seems to have taken a step back. And a lot of people can attribute that to Ben Johnson leaving and taking the Bears game. And the year Matt Stafford is having, he's probably going to be the MVP. And that's Puka Nacua. What a year he's having. So I'm going to take the Rams to beat Detroit. And so that may be a surprise. And those are my 3 picks, Eli.
All right. Well, let's kick it off. Bills Patriots. I'll start it off. 1 p.m. on CBS. Buffalo's favored by 1.5 of this game. The Patriots won the first meeting between these two teams. These two teams are likely both playoff teams this year. Patriots are likely going to win the division as long as they win this weekend. But I'm going to take Buffalo in this one. I look for them to stay alive in this series, potentially get a playoff spot. I have Buffalo winning 29-28.
Okay.
Packers Broncos. Green Bay's favored by 2.5, 425 on CBS. Great game. I'm sorry. That's not wrong game. Wrong game. I'm sorry. That was your game, Jim.
Yep.
Kansas City 4.5. Chargers versus Chiefs, 1 o'clock CBS. That was my other game. Chargers and the Chiefs. Really good game. The Chiefs have not been playing the way they are. They're not going to win the division. That's crazy to think about. We're not going to see a division winner, and they're likely not going to make the playoffs, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah. Big
But
game
I don't
for
see Patrick Mahomes losing. So I'm going to go with the Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs 26-24 to get the victory.
Wow, that's kind of a surprise to me. You've been anti Kansas City most of the year. That's a
Yeah.
surprise. That's a
And
surprise.
lastly, the Lions of the Rams. Los Angeles is favored by 6 points, 425 on Fox. You know what, though? I just really am. I had that weird feeling that Detroit's going to go to Los Angeles, surprise everybody, and they're going to get the victory. So I'm going to
Ooh.
go with the Detroit Lions 26-23. So my picks are the Bills, the Lions, and the Chiefs. Good luck, Jim.
Yeah, and again, I could care less about what point spreads are, but I think they're evenly matched. But yeah, okay, you're going with Detroit. The whole Dan Campbell thing. He's starting to burn that candle at both ends with this fourth and he goes
Oh,
for it
yeah.
every time, and it probably less than 50% success rate. So we're gonna see. But those are three interesting games.
Oh, yeah. And the playoff is winding down. We're going to get to closer to more teams getting eliminated. Both New York teams are out. They had no shot to begin with. But that's what we have going on there. So exciting stuff in the NFL.
Yeah, just one other quick note. Like I said, we're getting down to the end, and both the Jets and the Giants are out, and the Jets just looked awful against a pretty
Once
mediocre
again.
Miami team last week. So but this whole Abdul Carter situation is a little bit frustrating for me because I believe that he was going to be good, and maybe he could still turn it around, but he just doesn't seem motivated right now, and he's antagonistic with the press, and he brought all this on himself, and he still has the potential. And I'm glad Lawrence Taylor came out and called him out on this.
Oh, yeah.
And I was kind of chuckling to myself, saying he wanted to wear Lawrence Taylor's number, which I mean, tired, and no way did he even deserve it. But he's playing like he doesn't deserve to be that number one pick. I think he was the third overall. He's got to turn this thing around, and if he doesn't, he's going to become a bust in this league.
Oh, yeah. Let's go now to a couple of some fast topics, quote unquote, here before we get to random points. I'll start off with college basketball because tonight, here in the Garden State, is the Garden State Hardwood Classic at 8 o'clock. It's Seton Hall and Rutgers, the battle for that New Jersey trophy. Really good game tonight. What I look forward to in this game, well, Seton Hall has been on a really good winning streak. They only have one loss on the season. That was because of the loss in the Maui tournament. For Rutgers, they haven't been playing the way that they should, so it should be a really good game tonight. Well, I think Seton Hall will get the trophy back to South Orange, so look for a really good crowd and really good game tonight. That game's on FS1 if you're interested at 8 o'clock. So check that out. Really good one tonight for your entertainment. And maybe Seton Hall will get ranked potentially after this game or maybe after another Big East game coming up this week.
Yeah, Seton Hall's been playing very well.
Right, but they haven't played anybody in the Big East. So the question will become, if they win this game and they can win a couple of the Big East games starting this week, then I could say, you know what, maybe they should be ranked. Maybe that there's some potential here. I know people don't want them to be ranked, but they're going to be if they win these games and if they beat some of these ranked schools that we're going to not be ranked schools, Big East schools coming up.
Well, that's what's so great about college basketball is they play all of these kind of these tournaments and so forth, but once you get into conference play, that's when things really start to measure the team and their success. And right now, Seton Hall to me has been a big surprise. But let's see how that
play
works out when
in conference. Yep.
Yep.
Let's go now to the NBA real quick before we go to NHL because the NBA Cup is in full swing and we're at the semifinal rounds. The semifinals, yeah, last round, and the Knicks are still in it to win this NBA Cup. Let's think about that for a second. It's the Knicks and the Magic tonight at 5:30, and the Spurs and the Thunder at 9 o'clock. The winner plays on Tuesday. All I could say is Knicks to the New York Knicks, to the fans out there, don't win this NBA Cup. I don't care if you get $500,000 and you get a trophy, and that might be the only trophy you get in a while. Because what happens when you win this cup, as we saw with the Lakers last year or the year before, there's a curse. They don't win the championship. So what would you like, an NBA Cup and a banner that says you won an NBA Cup that means nothing, or an NBA championship, which actually means something? So let's think about that. So maybe let's not win this NBA Cup. Watch them win it, though. But
No.
Good luck,
Well,
though.
they're not going to win it because they can't measure up against Oklahoma City, who's off to a historic start to an end
Absolutely.
season. The defending
Um,
champ, no less, and this Gilgis Alexander is really turning into one of the marquee names. And I mean, they're like 20, what are they, 25-1? I
Yeah.
mean, amazing. I mean,
it's unbelievable.
but keep
Let's
an eye
uh,
out though, Eli. I know there's been talk, and we mentioned it last week with Antetokounmpo and Giannis. I still think there's a chance that the Knicks will pull the trigger and pull him in, and I don't think that guarantees them any kind of an NBA championship, but I don't think Mike
you never
Brown
know.
and the team they can't play against Oklahoma City, so they may need to have to get Giannis over here. I don't know.
All right. And lastly, let's go to the NHL for some random points because last night a major trade went down. The Minnesota Wild have traded Zave Byam, Liam Ogren, Marco Rossi, and a first-round draft pick to the Canucks for Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes is now a Minnesota Wild. And this is a shock to many New Jersey Devil fans, including myself, because,
Yeah,
if he was up for grabs, why didn't the Hughes reunite down in Jersey? This is
with his
absolutely a
brothers.
shock. The Hughes brothers are shy. To me, it's a shock. But yes, Jack Hughes is out. He's in La La Land. Luke Hughes is Luke right now, but we're not seeing. I don't know what Fitzgerald was thinking. I don't know why they couldn't reunite. Disappointed 1000%. The Devils ran out 17-13-1. They haven't been playing great. Timo Meyer had to take a leave of absence, and the team is pretty much lost. And now you have no Quinn Hughes, so this team will never be united in a Hughes brother way. Disappointed down for the Devils.
Yeah, I mean, right now, from a hockey perspective, I mean, I'm a Rangers fan, and boy, they look just completely. I don't even know what to make of it.
A mess. Is
So
that the
yeah,
word?
I mean that was the big trade in the NHL because there's really not a lot. The NHL doesn't start to really ramp up and
Until
get the
after
viewership
January.
and things a little early on. Yeah.
Yeah. Diego checks in, says hello, boys, and good morning to you. Thank you for tuning in, Diego. And with that, let's take a look at some random points sponsored by Lynch Toyota of Manchester, Connecticut.
Yeah, and Eli, I have one that I kind of just saw, and again, thank you to Diego for enlightening us on this World Cup
Yes.
situation and so forth. But there is this thing with soccer fans. I mean, Messi was in India yesterday, and it caused damn near a riot, and it was kind of unfortunate. But yeah, but thank you, Diego, for that. So all right, Eli, why don't you start us off with some random
Okay.
points here?
Before I go to random points, I have a comment from JR. He said, what are your thoughts on Michigan basketball and their impressive start to the season as they will take on Maryland tonight?
Well, you can't deny that they're beating. They got 4 or 5 wins by 25 points or more, so they're certainly dominant.
Absolutely.
Can they maintain this again
Well,
once you
it's
get
early.
the Big Ten schedule? And Eli, before we move on, I wanted to
yes,
put on
that's
my
right.
Lynch Toyota hat, which was
Yes.
sent to us by President of Lynch Toyota, Mike Lynch, and he
Thank you,
also
by the way,
sent
for that.
us-
Really appreciate it.
Yep, and he also sent us this book called How the Worst Was Won. It's about the 62 Mets, written by Mark Alley, and maybe we'll have Mark on the show. I'm going to read the book. So, Mike, thanks for all the paraphernalia.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
appreciate it. Thank you again, Mike. Let's
Yep.
kick it off with some random points. I got a lot. Let's start with this. The NFL will be shortening the time in between draft picks in the first round from 10 minutes to 8 minutes. This will be a big change coming soon to draft day. And I kind of like the new change, shortening by 2 minutes.
I like it.
Speeds up.
I like
do.
it.
Me too. I do too.
Me too.
Yeah. FIFA announced back during the draw that this tournament would feature a 3-minute hydration break halfway through each half. So now FIFA is in talks with Fox to put commercials into that spot. Usually it's known for 45 minutes half without a single commercial. Now we're thinking about putting in commercials for that 3-minute hydration break because of the heat that the United States, Mexico, and Canada are dealing with throughout the World Cup. So be prepared to see more commercials during the World Cup.
All about the Benjamins.
All about the Benjamin. And Tom says, good morning. Good morning, Tom. Thanks for tuning in. Let me continue on here.
Morning, Thomas.
YouTube TV has officially launched a new sports-only plan, which will feature all of ESPN networking, ESPN Unlimited, FS1, and NBC Sports Network. Not included in the new package, but can be added on as NFL Sunday Ticket and NFL Red Zone. A price for this has not been announced yet, but it'll be launching very soon in January. So stay tuned for that. To me, it doesn't look that worth the price and worth it. They haven't announced the price yet, but to me, it doesn't include some of these cable channels. And, it's, you can really get the stuff on your regular YouTube TV plans. I don't know what the whole big deal is here, but I don't know. I guess the whole ESPN Unlimited package, but still. Anyways.
More money.
More money. Speaking of ESPN, this Tuesday will be Elle Duncan's final SportsCenter show before she departs for her new role on Netflix. ESPN announced that Christine Williamson will take over as the new 6 p.m. SportsCenter host with Kevin Nagandi, and she will also be the lead studio host for women's college basketball and women's college basketball game day. So congrats to her on her new role. And Elle Duncan will be definitely watching to see the final SportsCenter show. As we mentioned last time, John Dickerson and Maurice Dubois are leaving the CBS Evening News slot, and instead taking over will be Tony DeCupoli and from CBS Mornings, as he'll be the new permanent host of the Evening News. So check that out. That's happening.
They're still going to finish in third place behind.
Right, but he's a good guy like him. But I'm going to miss Maurice Dubois. He was a really good anchor. He was also on the CBS local news too here in New York. ABC News' Matt Gutman is heading to CBS News, where he'll be one of the main reporters and have a higher presence on air. He will start his new role alongside Tony on January 5th. There's a big loss from ABC this week.
Yeah,
losing Matt Gutman.
Yep.
Chanel Jones will become Jenna Bush Hager's new co-host on the 4th Hour of Today. The show was originally Today with Jenna and Hoda and Jenna, then became Jenna and Friends. Now it'll be Today with Chanel and with Jenna and Chanel. So take a look at that if you watch 4th Hour of Today.
I think 2 hours is enough.
Yeah. Well, speaking of shakeups at the anchor desk, Kurt Menefee will be leaving Good Day New York officially on Friday, December 19th, as he'll focus primarily on Fox Sports stuff, pretty much. The replacement host for Rosanna has not been announced yet. He's been with Fox 5 New York for over 2 years. So lost there. Jimmy Kimmel has extended his contract at ABC through at least 2027, so you get to watch more late night TV with Jimmy. And for those heading to the Prudential Center today for the Garden State Hardwood Classic or the Devils game today, be aware that select streets will be closed from this morning as of 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. tonight for a movie filming. Unfortunately, the Devils did not release which movie is being filmed in Newark, so stay tuned for that. Tonight's Powerball drawing is estimated at $1 billion with a cash value of only $457 million. So if you're playing, good luck.
Good luck, yeah.
Good luck is what you need. Dick Van Dyke turns 100 years old. So happy birthday to Dick Van Dyke. And Saturday Night Live is all new this week with Josh O'Connor as your host and Lily Allen as your musical guest.
Okay.
That's all I got, Jim. It's all yours.
All right. I only have a couple. And let's go back to, we talked a little bit about it, the Hall of Fame in Major League Baseball. Jeff Kent makes the Hall of Fame, and Don Mattingly does not. And, I'm a Mattingly fan. I'm a Yankee fan. But I looked at the numbers, and even though he was the best player in the game for 4, maybe 5 seasons, I very strict. So I always thought, I'm not a big Keith Hernandez fan, but as a player, if Mattingly doesn't get in, then Hernandez doesn't get in, and vice versa. So Jeff Kent, from a second base perspective, most home runs all time by a second baseman. So you have to get somebody in there. So I kind of talked a little bit about it. I have, no problem with Jeff Kent. I thought Delgado and his numbers were big enough to get in, but he didn't get in. So the Hall of Fame, it's just got Jeff Kent going in, I think. So, and from the broadcast booth, this was interesting that Joe Buck won the Ford Frick Award. So him and his father now are the only father and son broadcasting duo in sports history to win that award. And you gotta give this guy Joe Buck some credit. He's all over the place. He does all the big games.
And now he's doing Good Morning America once in a while.
But I'll say this: if Buck gets the Ford Frick Award based on what the level of broadcasting he's done for some of the biggest games, what about Jim Nance? He should get in, right? He should win
Yeah.
something. He
It's
does the
early.
Masters. He does the Super Bowl. He does everything. I don't
Yeah, I
know,
guess you could say, yeah, that's a fair point.
right?
We'll see what happens though.
Yep. And we did talk about the Sharon Moore, which is shockingly incredible to me, but we
Shocking
talked
stuff there.
about it. And I just wanted to wish Lucia Valenzuela happy 80th birthday today. So
Yes.
happy birthday
Happy
to
birthday.
Mama Luz. Yep. Okay,
All
Eli,
right.
that's good for me.
All right, well, it's time now for the What's Your Recommendation in the Photo segment, sponsored by Vital Selection. Scan the QR code to learn more.
All right, Eli. So I have a recommendation, and it's a show that people have been telling me about for years, and I never watched it. But I have been kind of binge watching Mad Men with John Hamm.
Okay.
Are you familiar with it?
No, probably I don't
No,
think no.
it's kind of
Yeah.
set in the 60s about this advertising thing, but I think John Hamm is outstanding in everything he does. He's really, really good in this. It was well received when it was broadcast originally. I don't know, it's probably 15 years old, but I just started because I did quality television is at a premium these days, but this is
Oh
a
yeah.
pretty good show.
Well, to me, coming up this week on Wednesday at 8 o'clock on ABC. If you didn't get to go see the Jingle Ball concert for iHeartRadio this week, ABC at 8 o'clock on Wednesdays, showing an encore presentation of the iHeartRadio Jingle Ball. So check that out if you're into the music and want to see all behind the scenes stuff from iHeart.
Well, there's also actually something that came up, and this is maybe more for you because I know you're a big Taylor Swift guy.
I'm not a big Taylor Swift guy, but okay.
But you can't deny. I mean, the most highest grossing tour ever, but they have the documentary on Disney.
Yes,
that
Disney
people
Plus
like.
now. It was on ABC yesterday. I saw that. And I did see a clip though. That was pretty cool when she gave out the bonuses and stuff. I don't know if you got
Yeah.
to see that clip. That was
Yep.
pretty cool. I mean, just to see the reaction on their face. I mean, that's what I like to see. Giving back to everybody who made it possible, because you don't see
That's
anybody
right.
do that. You don't
That's
see
right.
any
And
other
my
celebrity. You don't see anybody
granddaughter's
do
a
that.
big Taylor Swift fan too. So
Yeah.
I'm
I'm not
happy
a
for
big
that.
Taylor Swift fan, but you know what? I'll give you this. I have respect for her. To do that, to give that type of
100%.
money, I have respect for her, unlike other artists. I will give her respect no matter what. I don't
No
say about other
question. You
artists,
can't.
her I will give my full respect to, because that is unbelievable
Yeah,
what she did.
you bet. I think she's a classy kid, very talented, and like I said, highest grossing musical tour ever.
I
Great.
can't, and
Great
I'm
stuff.
sure Disney Plus crashed yesterday after the show went through. So
I bet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go ahead and a couple comments before I get to pictures. JR says, have you ever heard of a Japanese baseball player named Sadahura? Oh, he is a Japanese baseball player that hit 868 home runs. That is more than Barry Bonds hit in professional baseball. No, have not.
Oh, absolutely. Sadahara O was the quote unquote the Babe Ruth of Japanese baseball for many years. And a lot of people, he probably hit more home runs than Babe Ruth. But remember, this was Japan, and those fields are pretty small.
Right.
Not taking it away, but I certainly do remember Sadahara O. No question about it. He was big when I was a kid.
Yeah. Couple of comments from Tommy says, what about Tom Brady? And also it's Taylor Swift's birthday too, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that today's birthday? Taylor's birthday? I think it's today too. Because I think Tom Brady's birthday is today too. Could be wrong.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think maybe he's referencing being in the broadcast booth, I would think. But
oh yeah, no,
I'll
it's
be
not Tom
honest
Brady's
with
birthday. I know it's Taylor's birthday, yes, but
yeah, but
I saw that.
I like Tom Brady in the booth, and
Yeah, I
a
don't
lot of
mind him
people
now.
are tired. Actually,
He's a great reporter too.
took
Yes,
a while,
that's
but
right.
it's good.
And Tom says, I'm tuning in for Taylor's documentary. Great stuff, Eli.
Hey, what do you mean, Eli?
Well,
I'm the one that brought Taylor Swift.
he's the one who brought it up, but yeah, we'll take the credit though. Let's go to some photos.
All right, and there's my that's my family. That's my daughter, my 3 grandkids, and my son-in-law and Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. Who I was there with last year, as a matter of fact, with a friend of our Tom Pugh was there, and that's all the kids and my
Radio
daughter's
City.
best friend's two kids too, so they had a wonderful time there.
Well, that's how you celebrate the holidays in New York City. Nothing better than going to Bryant Park or the Christmas tree in Rockefeller Center, waiting with
Yeah.
1,000 people trying to take a picture with the tree. You can go anywhere else to see, and going to see the Rockettes, of course, is a staple.
Yep.
Happy holidays, of course. And with that, we do have some notable passings. I have a couple this week.
Okay.
All right, I'll kick it off. Peter Green, best known in The Mask and Pulp Fiction, has passed away at the age of 60. He was born in 1965.
Well, let me touch on that. First and
Yeah.
foremost, Pulp Fiction is an outstanding movie. Not for kids, certainly. And the role he
course.
played with Zed in that movie was a very disturbing scene from a movie perspective. But again, it's just a movie. Played that role incredibly well.
Yeah, he
He
did.
was also in The Mask, I believe, as well. But he was only 60 years old, so that's young.
He was. Jim Ward, the voice of Doug and Chet in The Fairly Odd Parents, has passed away at the age of 66. Jeffrey Garcia, the voice actor who voiced Sheen from Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius, has passed away at the age of 50. And finally, NASCAR driver Michael Annett has passed away at the age of 39. He was born in 1986.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about race cars, so forth. I can't say I'm overly familiar with it. Like I know who Schumacher is and Van.
You know the main guys, right?
Verstappen.
Same here. Yeah.
Right.
Other than that, we had a great show. Thank you for everybody for commenting, for tuning in, and for listening. We'll be back next week for our 10 a.m. show, our last one before Christmas. Can we believe it? It's already here.
Yes, and of course, please send us some feedback at our email at sportswithmano@gmail.com. We appreciate our loyal listeners, and we had a lot to talk about. Like I said, Eli said right before the show, it's a busy week in sports, and it is. So Army-Navy game today.
And the Hardwood Classic
my
tonight.
nephew's down in Annapolis to watch that game, so enjoy that. And, like Eli said, we'll be back here same time next Saturday, and that'll be our final show before Christmas.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. Until then, everyone, have a great weekend, and we'll see you all next Saturday.
You too, Eli. Go Seton Hall tonight in the Hardwood Classic.